Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got a very non-bingo-y rack, but it is balanced in terms of vowels and consonants, so I will be playing through this rather than changing. So what if opponent changes? Do I have a way of getting my F or K doubled? I don't think so. Well, I've got fonder, which gets the F doubled. That's not bad. An alternative play would be fank, but I don't really like retaining A and O. They lack synergy, and O is non-bingo-y. So I think fonder is my preferred 5-letter play, but opponent does make a play. Do any of these floaters give me a bingo? And I'll check fairly quickly because, in my mind, because this looks pretty non-bingo-y and I'm not seeing one. So, what to do? What about this? CAF, 32 points. I am retaining AO. I don't think there's anything I can do about that. 32 points is pretty decent. I'm not seeing a double-double in column 5. Yeah, and this isn't giving away anything amazing. Not a good pick. Not bingo-y. I do have a long play to sort this rack out. Doodah, leaving just an N. That plays in row F. Oh, wow. Bingo for opponent. Fantastic start. Doodah still available. Do I have anything which hits this triple word square? My A would have to go above the G. So it'd be an AO play, not seeing one. Honda is an alternative to Doodah. Not seeing anything through the R. Could there be a bingo through the B? I've got the hand prefix with DOO. No, not seeing anything. Kip takes an E and an S. So this is what I'm thinking of. Doodah for 23. And another non-bingo rack. However, it's still, I think, just about good enough to play through. I would have Jiminy through an I, and there is an I in pelting. That would leave CD. Very few short words on this rack, particularly involving the J. I'd like to play off at least 2 of J, M, Y, and C, or at least, well, preferably 3 of them, which Jiminy does do, and stays available. 20 for opponent, that's good, slowing down. I've got JI over Doodah. Oh, well, I have Gin. Let me see what this scores. That's 37 points. Aha, and I can stick a D in front. 48 points. It's not playing off my scoring tiles as I wished, but every move has its price, and 48 points I think is enough to compensate for this rack leave as opposed to Jiminy. Interesting, Jiminy is actually 36 points. 12 fewer points. But I trail and Jiminy opens the board up. Keeping CD. I think this is close. This is close, and although these are high-scoring tiles, there is some synergy here. NYC of itself is a word, and that plays above NAR. NYC and MNA. I am going with Gin. Gosh, the Scrabble gods are not favouring me. I do have this mic spot. I'm not sure that plays anywhere else. But there's a floating I in pelting. Is Siggy playable with a Y, or is it just i.e., let me check this. Yeah, Siggy is good. So I am playing through this, either Siggy or Mike, and Siggy would be my preference, getting rid of these ugly G's. Oh, an opponent plays there. Fortunately, only 20 points. That's a shame. Siggy was really nice. MST is a nice rack leave, whereas my rack leave after Mike is grim. But Mike is 30 points, so this is better than changing. Any alternatives to Mike? Well, Jim. Jim would be an alternative with a better rack leave. But where does it play? Bye is good, but Caver takes an N, not an M. Let me pause. So, any Jim spots? And Dudar takes an S, but I'm not seeing a 5-letter play ending in S. What about Moggy? 24 points, keeping a decent rack leave. Yeah. I think this rack leave is a lot better than after NYC. £30. I'm sacrificing 6 points, offering a Y in column 15. It is a useful floater, but it's hard to get a scoring tile below the Y. And a play in column 15 is likely to leave the E of ingoted alone, which goes well with my rack, and I am looking to bingo. I am going with Moggy. And still no vowels. I have a Y, which is a quasi-vowel. And I may need to use this E. An alternative would be to play something like clay in row E for a lowly score. Not seeing anything in column 15 myself. I only trail by 10. And opponent has been slowing down. Famous last words, 76-point bingo. But that opens the board up. I would have crystal through an A. Wow, what a shame I've got nothing onto this Y. But is that really the case? I've got an L for an LY ending word. Is there really no 4-letter play? I've got scry. No, not seeing anything. So what about a play through this A? I've got clay here, which is nice. And it leaves alone both floating E's. It would be nice... Oh, well, I have clary. That gets both of my scoring tiles tripled. Clary for 24. Yep, I am going with this. Finally, some vowels. I would have after sun through an R. Now, what about unsafety? Yes, I think I have unsafety in column 15, and there are surely opponents going to be focused on the bottom left of the board. But supposing that bingo is blocked, do I have anything with this T? No. What about the S? No. F and U don't go great together. What about the E? No. I. Wow, I looks like it could be useful. But I'm not seeing anything, and I'm not seeing a 7 with the rack. E already can... Oh, wow, brutal. Opponent bingos and takes my bingo spots. Gosh, and I was just eyeing up drawing level with opponent, but that's not to be. There is still a triple lane open. I don't have one. Let me just revisit these floaters in case I have something. Now I know that my unsafety bingo is not available. What about a C? No. I. Nope. Forniest is with a W, not a U. E. No. S. And T. Okay, so not seeing anything. There is a triple lane open. Or is there a way of opening up a new triple lane? Well, it's tricky because this is a bingo-y rack. I'd like to play off just F and U, but that's not going to open a triple. And if I do open a triple lane, I'll be wrecking the rack and there are no blanks to come. If I leave this triple lane open, opponent's just going to play there. Well, there are lots of floaters on the board. Why don't I play off just my non-bingo-y tiles, F and U, keep a decent 5-letter set, and hopefully bingo next turn through floaters, well, all over the board. Flew for 23. Okay, so I have Etesian. Cineaste doesn't play. Wow, the triple lane remains available. Tetanese, Tetanize, Anisette, T-Knights. Wow, none of them are triples. And am I sure there isn't a new word in? We are now playing with the word list that applies in tournaments from the beginning of next year, but it's available on ISC now. Wow, that's so close to having a triple. Teenius, T-Knights. Well, Anisette, T-Knights. Tetanese, Tetanize. I think that's it. Okay, so do I play one of those? I think so. I think I do, because there's then still the floating C, although it's in a very specific spot in row D, and there's still the floating E of Beamiest. I'm absolutely sure there are no lanes I haven't considered. I made a howling miss in Malta recently. I had glitter on the board and I had air radio on my rack, and I just did not register that glitter took an A front hook. Fortunately, I won the game, but it was a reminder to check the board. Heartily doesn't take anything in front. Ingoted takes nothing after. Okay, so I'm going with Tetanese or Tetanize. I think Tetanese provides the least options for opponent. 474. Well, vowels, but V not particularly bingo-y. I trail by about 100, so, and only 17 tiles left. So I think this is a lost game. However, I will keep trying to make the winningest plays, even if the winningest plays are simply the least losingest in terms of spread. So what to do here? I'm looking to play off the V. Let me count the remaining vowels. 11 out of 24. So it's vowel dry, and 6 of those vowels are O's and U's. Only one A, two E's and two I's. So pretty non-bingo-y. Still Q, X and Z to come, which could generate bingo-y scores. So where can I dump my V? Ooh, interesting. 18 for opponent. They may be trying to block the E, but I think it also suggests they're keeping a pretty strong rack. Interesting. Two E's to come. What about doing this, though? I've got an E on my rack. Opens up the opportunity for a big score in row A, and given how much I trail, 120, I think this maximises my chances of catching opponent, even if it's at the expense of opponent on occasion getting a big score in row A. Having said that, opponent's just played off one tile, so probably has got 6 very good tiles. Is there something less reckless? 3 O's to come. So I could do this for 25, but if I draw an O, this rack is pretty dead. Yeah, opponent's play makes it very hard. Interesting. I could do this. And the reason this is interesting is because piece takes an A in front. There's only one A to come, and I've got one on my rack. However, I'm also burning E's, which are good tiles. But with Q, X and Z, an opponent signalling that they've got bingo tiles rather than Q, X and Z, there must be a chance that I draw a big tile and could hit a big score in column 1. Oh well, and if I draw the X, I could have a big play in row C, ending in X. Big-ish. I'm going with piece. So I draw the Z. So I have Z, O, E, A in column 1. Will that stay available? And if it doesn't, does my Z play elsewhere? Well, I have Z and Z in column 3, so the Z does look pretty handy. If opponent plays a U, I could have Zoo Ave. I think the front A hook for piece is not massively obvious. This doesn't look like a setup, even though it is. I have Zoea in column 6. Interesting, having played 2 E's, I've drawn the last 2 E's, and I had placed at least one of them on opponent's rack after the run play. So if I had played VOE, opponent would not have had a row A play. Wow, it'd be very interesting to see what opponent had when they played off that N, because they had no E's. So VOE would have given me unhindered access to row A. So opponent plays off just 2 tiles for 25 points. This is what I'm thinking of. I could stick an E on the end of this, but I think that's more useful on my rack. And 53 points. Am I going with this? If I play Z double E, I'm retaining the A for a piece. So 6 minutes on my clock. Oh, well, keeping double O. Although I'm retaining the A, I think whatever I draw, I'm not getting anything massive in column 1, so I prefer Z, O, E, A. What's opponent done? Dob. I think Dob takes an E. Let me check that, because that could be quite big. It does take an E, I know it does. And opponent hasn't got an E. Well, what have I got down here? 61 points. But keeping these O's and a V, well, opponent just can't score very much down here unless they burn both S's. So I could play V. I'm really minded to play Z, O, E, A here. 5 minutes on my clock. And this could be a really hot spot, bottom right. I don't think this is going... I'm too far behind to win this, but... that bottom right spot is pretty handy. Yep, I am going with Zoea. Okay, so I have Vex and Wox bottom right. And maybe opponent's got the Q, or is drawn to the 2-letter play in column 2. 5 tiles to come, but Vex is going to be... it's going to be a big score. Might opponent block it with a single tile? Well, they're not going to block it with an X. If they do block it, I have Axe and Ox in column 2. What do I trail by? 69. Oh, an opponent takes out that beautiful, beautiful Vex spot, which did hold out a sliver of hope of catching opponents. I'm now 100 behind. But I can play off 2 tiles, 3 in the bag. Nice bingo lane in row C. So this is the spot I'm looking at. For 47, that will take me to 366. I'll be about 50 behind. I'll need a bingo to win, I think. Oh, well, I didn't even calculate the score for Vex. I was savouring the moment when I put it down, but it would have been massive. 3 minutes on my clock. Is this to play Ox for 47? I think it is. I think this is the best 5-letter rack leave. I'm going with this. And, oh my word, I have overran in row C. Is that going to stay available? Wow. There's 1 in the bag, so opponent doesn't know I've got overran. They could work out that I might have it. But their attention could be focusing on maximising value from the queue. Wow. This is going to be close. Do I have any? Oh my word, and it stays available. Unbelievable. Overran 4. Is it going to be enough? 4. Oh, is it going to be enough? For 67. Oh my word. And the final score, 433 for opponent, 461 for me, a winning margin of 28 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Oh my word, you dream of these crazy low probability wins, but it's happened here and now. Wow. So it was opponent to go first, and they played Braille. Wow, unbelievable. Not the Braille play, but the win. So let me. I can tilt a little bit because the game is over, but let me try and get some value out of analysing these earlier moves. But oh my word, fantastic stuff. So, calf, that was my play. Great rack for opponent and a nice bingo of pelting. Into lap available as a double-double. So, my rack, I played Doodah for 23. Could have got 3 more points with Ho Dad and Hail and Of. That's quite nice. Probably not much between those plays. Opponent's rack. They play Caver. And now this is the Jiminy play. I had Jiminy for 36 or Gin for 48. Very difficult to decide between these because CMY... Wow. Looking at it now, I think Jiminy's the better play. CD must have a value of... well, probably slightly positive, maybe 1 or 2. But CMY must be negative to the tune of about -10, I would have thought. Yeah, so I think Jiminy's the better play. However, I did have in mind that my retained M could go above NA. But maybe that play contributed towards my vowel problems. Opponent plays Ingoted. And now I have no vowels. I have Mike, didn't like the rack leave, and went with Moggy for 6 fewer points, and I like that. Fantastic bingo by opponent. Beamiest, opening up a triple lane. Kleister M7 through the E of Ingoted for 38. That's nice. What do? I play Clary for 24, keeping a decent rack leave. I like my play. I'm retaining the S, and NST all have synergy, so I think Clary is the better play. And opponent has Heartily. Wow, fantastic rack. It's amazing that they don't have a better bingo through the T or a triple through the T, but they don't. And that takes out Unsafety. Oh, wow, but Unsafest, N2. Gosh. Amazing how the mind works, that you can see Unsafety and miss Unsafest. But there you go. I play Flu to maximise the rack leave. I3. Gosh, I could have extended Flu to Flu 8 for 47. Which does take an S, but there are ST plays which could have been triples, so possibly Flu 8 would have been better. However, the rack leave after Flu is pretty sensational. Horrible rack for opponent. They play Wow. And now, yeah, no triples available. N1 Etesians. Otherwise, it's just these row O bingos. So I wasn't feeling great at this point. Even after that bingo, I trailed by 100. Opponent plays Run. And now what do? Oh, right, this is where I play Peace, setting up my retained A for the front hook for Peace. But still trailing by 100. Missed bingo by opponent, Binius. Wow, that looks a strange word. And it plays above the E of Peace. Fortunately, opponent misses it, plays Bow. Now Z, I didn't like the rack leave, but I also liked the fact that only an E and an S go after Dob. So I play Zoea for 53, preferring to keep the E on my rack. Opponent's rack, they play ST. So from what? Wow, from this. And for just 31 points, keeping IIU. How galling. Because what would Vex have scored? Let me calculate it now. $85 points. Wow, that would have been big, but not available. However, I do have Ox for 47, and now I'm a bingo's reach of opponent. And look at this, opponent does not have the Q on their rack. The Q is the last tile in the bag. Wow, what a stroke of good fortune. So opponent plays Runs. What's the best suggestion here? C13. Rushing. Wow. and that would have blocked overran. Fortunately, they don't see it, and they play runs. And now here it is in all its glory. Overran for 67, bringing us level, but then counterback gives me a 28-point winning margin. So absolutely amazing stuff. A really, really low probability win with about 10 to 15 tiles in the bag, but I got big plays with Zoe, Ox, and then the bingo to draw level, and the Q in the bag probably made all the difference. If the Q had been on opponent's rack with 2 U's out there, they would have definitely had a U on their rack, and they could have scored enough to win, even though I bingoed. Anyway, the Q was in the bag, and it was a different story. So absolutely amazing game. Many thanks to opponent for a good battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game. Like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time.